But unfortunately, guys, we're going to have to tone it down a little bit because it is a sad past week, basically 5 days ago, CJ Baxter was injured and out for the year. It was a knee injury, PCL and LCL. Last year, he had 659 yards and 4.8 yards per carry as a freshman with 5 touchdowns. People forget, yes, Jonathan Brooks was the starter for the majority of the year, but coming out of camp, CJ Baxter was the starter. As a true freshman out of high school, he became the starter at Texas. Now, did I personally agree with that from what I've seen from CJ Baxter and Jonathan Brooks? Absolutely not. I don't know what was going on during camp. Jonathan Brooks, to me, was by far the best running back on the team. I think if Jonathan Brooks was healthy, he would have been the best running back in the country. Unfortunately, for the second year in a row, though, we do lose our starting running back. And, guys, it's going to be interesting. I think what I've seen is actually surprisingly positive stuff from the Texas Longhorn community. And I understand that there's nothing wrong with being positive. First, prayers and thoughts out to CJ Baxter. Obviously, this is a terrible injury for him. Hopefully he can recover going forward. The recovery for this is high, but it's not always great, guys. Like everything that I've read, studied, it's about 80%. That's what you're going to get is 80% of guys recover full health. That means there's 20% of guys that don't recover to their full health. So there's a decent percentage chance we've seen the best of CJ Baxter already, and I hope that isn't the case. I really don't, because I think he has a very high ceiling. But it's going to be interesting, and I'm going to bring this up. I do not want to brag about this, but I said when we were doing running back rankings in the SEC, out of these guys in this running back room, the 5 that I mentioned, Christian Clark, Jarrett Gibson, CJ Baxter, Trey Wisner, and Jaden Blue, if someone's going to transfer, I had a feeling it was going to be CJ Baxter, not because of talent-wise. I think he's probably the most talented or second most talented in that group, but because of injuries. Last year was a lot of nagging injuries, shoulder, ankle, sternum, stuff like that. And I said if that continues to happen, he would either lose his job as a starter or just lose it as a whole if it was something serious like this, because this is a very talented room. And I'm really afraid this may have been the last time we ever see CJ Baxter as the starter at the University of Texas last year. And I hope that's not the case. I hope I'm wrong on this. I really do. I hope he recovers and has a fantastic career for Texas. And if it's not for Texas, I hope he just has a fantastic career in general. But there's a real chance that does happen. I really believe that, and it's really sad to say. But I wanted to talk about people being so positive about it in the room in general. So I broke down some numbers. I just went back the last 2 years. So 2023, guys, Jonathan Brooks led the team with 187 carries. In the room overall, there was 444 carries exactly between, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 running backs. I did not count wide receivers in this. Xavier Worthy got a couple carries. I also did not count Quinn Ewers. In 2022, guys, there were 258 carries by Bijan Robinson at first. Then 93, 30, 25, 15 were the next ones up at 421 carries. In 12, those are just 12 game sample size. I only did regular season, guys. So we're talking about between 420 and 450 carries basically between the 2 years. And the distribution seems to be 187 on the top end for Jonathan Brooks. Now, he only played 11 games. He probably would have reached 200 to 205 carries. Bijan Robinson had 258 carries. My guess is the starter at Texas this year probably would have gotten about 200 carries. I don't think Jaden Blue is going to reach that number, nor do I think he should. I don't think he is built for that, guys. We're talking a guy that's 6 foot, 205 pounds. He's not a big guy. And Texas loves to run inside zone. That is a staple of this offense. They like to run inside zone and then run RPOs off of that, run pass options. So do I think Jaden Blue can give you 4 to 6 of those a game? Yes. Do I think he can give you 10 to 15 of those like some other running backs could? No, I do not. And I don't think Trey Wisner, honestly, is going to end up being second in carries. You're going to have to find, in my opinion, 100 to 120 carries in the room. You're going to have to find those. I think Trey Wisner, like I said, if you're trying to get to 440, let's say you had to get to 425. I think Jaden Blue is going to give you 200. So you need 225 more carries between Christian Clark, Jarrett Gibson, and Trey Wisner. How are you going to get those? I think Trey Wisner gets you 50 to 75. Say he gives you 75 on the high end. So you need about 125 to 150 more. I think one of the two, and Christian Clark or Jarrett Gibson's going to have to give that to you. I think Jarrett Gibson's going to be the guy. I think he's the most ready-made at the running back position, guys. The guy's 5'10", 205 pounds. He's built like a tank. And this guy's super talented. Coming out of high school, Jarrett Gibson was the 4th-rated high school running back coming out. And he's going to have to take the load here. He just is. I don't know if he's going to be ready for it. I don't know what situations he's going to be used in, but there's a couple things these guys cannot do when they get their opportunity. One, they cannot blow blocking assignments. We saw Quinn Ewers get hurt because Jatavian Sanders wasn't a great blocker. He tried, but he wasn't good. And he got Quinn hurt. The running back that fills in for Cedric Baxter cannot be back there pass protecting and get Quinn Ewers hurt. 1. 2, they cannot commit penalties when they're back there, tackling guys in the backfield when they're supposed to be blocking, obviously. Getting hit from the blind side, Quinn Ewers getting hit from the blind side and causing a fumble. They can't do stuff like that. They can't have false start penalties. Stuff like that cannot happen. Number 3, you cannot fumble. Basically, in my opinion, guys, whoever gets the 100 to 150 carries that we need out of the second running back position, because I don't think it's Trey Wisner. I like Trey Wisner, but I think he's 50 to 75 carries, maybe 100 carries, maybe. And I think that you're just don't blow it. That's basically what I'm saying. Do not blow it. That is what we need from whoever steps up between Jarrett Gibson and Christian Clark. Like I said, in my opinion, it will be Jarrett Gibson. But it could be Christian Clark. Who knows? Christian Clark, up until, honestly, the scrimmage was said to be having a better camp. But I think just watching the high school tape and watching the recruiting rankings, I do think Jarrett Gibson is a better football player and more ready-made. I mean, he was playing at IMG Academy. IMG Academy is basically like a junior college or a low-level college football team. They have so many Division I players, and they have such a, like, honestly, college-ready scheme. I think he's ready to translate into college football. Some other possible solutions that I've heard mentioned, and I think, and I was ahead of the curve. Obviously, I didn't have time to make a video like the other big sites did, but a tight end in the backfield split set with another running back in passing situations, you could do that. I think Juan Davis would be the most likely there. Gunnar Helm, I don't see lining up in the backfield. I definitely don't see Amari Niblack lining up in the backfield along with the running back. But could I see Juan Davis in the backfield? Certainly. Yes, I could. Could I see Darian Gillette, who was also in the scrimmage, who's a linebacker lineup back there just to block once in a while? Yes, I could. I think Steve Sarkisian is going to have to get creative with this. And guess what? He's a creative offensive mind. So it should be pretty easy for him. I also think, honestly, guys, the strength of this team was always the offensive line, the quarterback, and the wide receivers. If this team was going to go and meet its upper echelon ceiling, it was going to be because of Quinn Ewers' right shoulder and his right arm. It was. That's how this team was going to win a national championship or get there at least. It wasn't going to be because of C.J. Baxter and Jaden Blue. It wasn't. Are they good backs? Of course they are. And I'm not saying they couldn't have contributed to a national championship season or C.J. Baxter couldn't have contributed to a national championship season. But if this team was going to reach its upper echelon ceiling, it was going to be on Quinn Ewers' shoulder. And this just puts that onus more on Quinn Ewers now. To me, the mold has always been 2019 Bama, 2019 LSU and 2020 Bama. We've broken down how those teams were offensively compared to their defense. Their defenses were like between, I believe, 25th and 35th in the country. Their offenses were best in the country. That's what this is going to have to be for Texas if they want to win the national championship. So it's going to be very interesting. Here's another thing. Jaden Blue's career high in touches is 13 in the game, and he only had what? 138 last year. So you're going to ask the guy to carry the ball probably I guarantee there's like 5 or 6 games he's getting 13 or more touches. Probably more than that. Every game he plays, he may get 13 or more touches. And you're probably asking him to touch the ball 225, 230 times. He's going to have 40 to 50 catches on top of 180 plus rush attempts. So you got to keep him healthy. And that's the thing too, guys. We're not even out of camp yet. We already have an injury there. Someone's going to miss a game or two. That's what's going to happen. We saw Cedric Baxter as the backup last year, missed a game or two. Jane Blue as the starter at some point, being the small frame that he is, probably will get hurt a little bit, nicked up, and miss a game or two. Now, that it does matter when he misses these games as well, because let's be honest here. If he's missing UL Monroe or Mississippi State, we don't need him for those games. We can roll out Christian Clark, Jarrett Gibson, Trey Wisner and be fine. But if you're missing Georgia, if you're missing Florida, even Kentucky, that's going to be an issue. But overall, someone's going to have to pick up the 100 to 150 carries that we missed with CJ Baxter out, because that's what it's going to take. Because obviously Jaden Blue will take up a little more of the slack than he was already going to. He's It'd be shocking now if he's under 170 carries for the year, unless he gets hurt, which hopefully that doesn't happen, because then we will have serious issues there.